Hello, everybody. This is Dan Russo, the Chief Market Strategist at Chaikin Analytics, coming to you with some reflections on 2020, a year in review. Special thank you to StockCharts.com for putting this together and for asking me to be a part of it. Many of you may know me as the host of Stock Market Today, which airs on StockCharts TV every trading day at 8:45 a.m. So if you haven't seen that, please take some time to give it a look. Kind of want to dive in, not so much as a recap of the whole year. We all know what kind of year it was, personally, financially, within the markets. A lot of volatility, a lot of back and forth, a lot of, if you will, chaos at times. But from chaos comes opportunity. And what I tried to do throughout this year is identify those opportunities, lay out a roadmap. On my show every day, I've laid out a roadmap of probabilistic thinking about where the market can go, where is the leadership, and where are the opportunities, in particular, the opportunities that nobody or very few people were talking about at the time and continue to really not be on a lot of radar screens. And that's what I'm going to do here today. For those of you who don't know me, here's a quick slide of my background. As I said, I am the Chief Market Strategist at Chaikin Analytics. I've been doing this for 20 years. Started my career at the New York Stock Exchange. I am a chartered market technician. And prior to joining Chaikin, I spent 10 years covering large institutional investors. So a little bit of my background there, not going to spend a lot of time on it. What I do want to spend a lot of time on is the play that nobody was talking about. And for me, it's inflation, but not so much inflation itself and, owning products to protect against inflation. But for me, where the inflation was coming up and some of the non-obvious opportunities out there, right? I do think we are in for a return of inflation. We've seen an unprecedented amount of monetary and fiscal stimulus that I think is going to start to make its way into the real economy. Taking a look here at the iShares TIP Bond ETF, ticker TIP, as of today, December 7th, it's trading at an all-time high. Has had a nice steady climb since breaking out of this consolidation here in early 2018. A little bit of volatility with the rest of pretty much every other asset around the initial stages of COVID. And then when the market began to price in this unprecedented stimulus, you've seen investors run for inflation protection. But take a look at the scale of the chart here. Even with that massive amount of fiscal and monetary stimulus, had you kind of just thought of tips, which a lot of people do, you didn't really get paid for it. 120 to 126, profitable, but there were probably better ways to take advantage of it. Now, a lot of people think of gold when they think of inflation or when they hear the term inflation. You can take a look at the commodity here. Gold. This is a weekly chart going back 5 years. So you can see the mid 2019 breakout through 1400 and then a steady rise higher. What happened here, though, is as investors started to come around to the inflation theme, the gold trade has become or had become extremely crowded. Now, this is still very much an uptrend and still very much a viable way to play for rising inflation, which I think is a theme that's going to continue into 2021. However, here in the near term, we've seen a bit of a pullback. Maybe it's a pause that refreshes, if you will. I do continue to like gold, but again, this is the first place everybody runs when they hear the word inflation. So it becomes crowded very, very quickly. For us, another way to think about it is to just take a basket approach and look at commodities as an asset class or as a group. You can look at something like the CRB commodity index. Again, here a weekly chart going back 5 years. And while we've seen a nice run off those COVID lows from sub 105 to about 160 now on the index, you can see here in the box a tremendous amount of overhead resistance. So if I'm thinking about trying to find the best opportunities, the ones that can run, right? Ease of movement certainly plays into the equation. And what I see here on commodities as a group, right, is a lot of overhead supply or the potential for a lot of overhead supply. So I don't necessarily think just taking a basket approach and owning commodities is the best opportunity out there. For us, we have been bullish on agriculture since June, and I don't think a lot of people have been looking at agricultural commodities and ways to gain exposure through it through the equity market. Now, we started to turn bullish on this theme in June when we started to become more bullish on inflation, if you will, paying attention to what was happening from an economic standpoint and a policy response standpoint. We started to see the prospects for rising inflation, but we didn't want to just go to the obvious trades, right? The obvious trades there's not much edge there. So we started looking at the agricultural theme, especially because fiscal stimulus was such a big part of the equation this time around. So you could look at broad-based agricultural commodities, but those remain in a downtrend, right? This is not the most compelling looking chart. I'm sitting here telling you we've become bullish on an agricultural theme, and then I show you this chart. You might say to yourself, Dan, what is Dan doing here? I'm trying to show you the importance of drilling down and doing work on individual areas before finally finding the potentially best investment opportunity. So this is a weekly chart of the Invesco DB Agricultural Fund. Steady downtrend, no two ways about it. However, near-term signs of a shift. And this is where drilling down to the next level has really come in handy, because we started talking about corn and the uptrend here back in the July timeframe, right? And that's largely played out. So if you take a look at the individual components that make up the agricultural fund, you'd see corn, nice steady uptrend, maybe a little bit overdone here in the near term on December 7th, but a nice steady uptrend that could continue to play out throughout 2021. What about wheat? Similar dynamic at play here, pulling back now to the breakout level, but wheat has had a tremendous run since those lows in July. And then soybeans still in a steady uptrend. And I think what's interesting about soybeans is the inflation portion of the argument helps soybeans. And then there's this added kicker of China fulfilling their obligations based on phase one of the U.S.-China trade deal, which involves obviously buying agricultural products, in particular soybeans, from the U.S. So if we look at these near-term trends, they do appear to be shifting in some of the key ag commodities. Now, you can gain exposure through this theme by trading the individual agricultural commodities itself. However, we've preferred gaining exposure to the agricultural theme through the equity market. Here at Chaikin Analytics, our Chaikin Power Gauge rating for equities and ETFs is more equity focused, equity and fixed income product focused, not so much on the individual commodities. So I've spent a lot of my time looking for opportunities through to gain exposure to this ag theme through the equity market. Now, I'm going to talk about some ratings here. They are our Chaikin Power Gauge ratings or our Chaikin ETF rating. And all of the ratings that I express here are as of today's recording. I am recording this on December 7th, 2020. These ratings may change by the time this show is airing. So the first way to do it is broadly. You can take a look at something like the Van Eck Vectors Agribusiness ETF with the creative ticker symbol of MOO. Here we're looking at the 5-year weekly chart. And what's interesting to me is if you're only looking at a 1-year chart, you may say something to the effect of, wow, this has had a monster run. I've missed it. I love zooming out. There are a ton of themes out there in the market, not just ag, but broadly, where we are just clearing consolidations, 2-year consolidations, and we are just getting topside of those consolidations. Ticker symbol MOO has a bullish ETF rating on December 7th at Chaikin Analytics. Broad-based exposure to equities that cater to the agribusiness, you can get it here through MOO. For those of you who are looking for individual opportunities, some names that I've called out this year are Mosaic, MOS, has a bullish rating at Chaikin Analytics. And what you can see here, it is just breaking topside of a 1-year consolidation. So I think as long as we are above the $20 to $22 zone for Mosaic, there is upside potential for this bullish rated stock at Chaikin Analytics. Corteva is another interesting name. This is a recent spin out from DuPont. CTVA also with a bullish rating at Chaikin Analytics as of December 7th, and a nice steady uptrend. I'm keeping the chart simple here, folks. Sticking to price, showing you the trends. Both Mosaic and Corteva as of today are outperforming the S&P 500. They have bullish ratings at Chaikin Analytics. And if I think that this agricultural theme is going to continue to play out into at least the first half of 2021, these are names that I want to be paying attention to. Now, I also wanted to call out some other opportunities. The next two names that I'm going to talk about are neutral at Chaikin Analytics as of December 7th, but they have some characteristics that look compelling to me from a technical standpoint, so I want to be paying attention to them. The first is Intrepid Potash. IPI, the ticker symbol here, consolidation, but now breaking top side through these interim highs. And if I drill down on relative strength, beginning to outperform the S&P 500. The same goes for CF. CF Industries, neutral rating at Chaikin Analytics as of December 7th, but taking out the interim summer highs, just as it is beginning to undergo a personality change at Chaikin Analytics as it's beginning to outperform the broader market. So we'll be watching to see if their ratings turn bullish or very bullish here in the near term. These are all four of these companies are ways to gain exposure to the agricultural theme because in some way, shape, or form, they are involved in the supply chain, whether it's through chemicals or fertilizers and things of that nature. So if you're bullish on ag, which we are, you want to look for opportunities to play that theme. You can look at a broad-based equity ETF like the VanEck Agribusiness ETF, MU, or you can look at some of the names that we've laid out here. Mosaic and Corteva with bullish ratings, Intrepid Potash and CF Industries with neutral ratings that we want to keep a close eye on to see if those ratings shift here in the near term. So that is going to wrap up my year in review. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you to those who watch my show every day at 8:45 a.m. Hope that everybody has a great holiday season, a very happy, healthy new year. And here's to emerging uptrends in 2021. Be well, be safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.